Before we dive in, make sure to like, share and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss out on our latest discoveries. Am I the only one that didn't know about the Viking secret to survival? When survival met ingenuity, the quietest innovations changed the battlefield forever. There are moments in history that rarely make it into documentaries, yet they are often the most revealing about human ingenuity. One of these moments occurred not in the roar of guns or the clash of armies, but in the hush of frostbitten mornings on World War battlefields. Soldiers faced a relentless enemy that didn't carry a uniform or a flag: the cold. Frostbite, hypothermia and sleepless nights in wet trenches claimed more lives than any ambush or artillery strike. In response, armies resurrected a centuries-old technique first developed by the Vikings, a method of creating heat that was quiet, fuel-efficient and enduring. What started as a practical solution for longhouses and winter survival became a tactical necessity in modern warfare. This is the story of ember bed heating, a forgotten yet highly effective survival hack that history buffs and field enthusiasts can learn from today. Long before electricity, radiators or portable camping heaters, the Vikings faced the same problem any winter survivalist would recognize: how to stay warm without wasting precious resources. Their solution was both simple and astonishingly effective. They created what historians now call long coal heating. Instead of roaring open flames, they constructed beds of smouldering embers using compressed hardwood, peat and animal fat as a binder. These ember beds were engineered not for light or spectacle, but for consistent radiant warmth that could last 10 to 12 hours with minimal attention. By carefully packing these mixtures into trenches or stone troughs, the Vikings converted their fuel into a long-lasting thermal battery. They insulated the beds with clay, ash and stones, controlling airflow to regulate the burn. The result was heat that quietly filled the longhouse, conserving resources and allowing families to survive harsh northern winters without constant fire tending. Centuries later, when European militaries faced similar challenges, the Viking principles reappeared. Soldiers in forward positions needed warmth without giving away their location. Open flames were dangerous. Smoke revealed positions and attracted attention. Military engineers adapted the ancient method, replacing peat and fat with compressed wood dust charcoal and tar-soaked canvas. The wartime ember beds were designed to smoulder for hours, generating near-smokeless heat. These silent heaters were so effective that after the wars, authorities restricted their civilian use, citing fire hazards, and unofficially because soldiers trained to rely on them were far more self-sufficient in the field. You know, understanding these military adaptations is crucial for anyone studying survival history because they highlight how enduring techniques are reshaped to meet the demands of new technologies and environments. At its core, the ember bed technique is, well, a lesson in efficiency. A proper ember bed is not a chaotic pile of coals, but a dense, oxygen-regulated mass. Its brilliance, really, lies in insulation and slow combustion. By limiting airflow and packing fuel tightly, heat is retained and gradually released. The Vikings achieved this with stone or clay troughs and ash insulation. Now, modern survivalists can, replicate this safely with three elements: a dense fuel source, a controlled container, and a heat-retaining structure. Hardwood lump charcoal works pretty predictably, while a cast-iron Dutch oven with a barely cracked lid mimics those old wartime trench heaters. Surrounding the container with stones, or even partially burying it in soil, well, that recreates the thermal mass effect of a Viking longhouse. Properly constructed, this system radiates warmth for hours without continuous attention, offering both safety and efficiency that, honestly, far surpasses many modern portable heaters. The strength of the Viking and wartime ember beds comes not from high-tech engineering, but honestly from deliberate placement and insulation. Vikings heated the structure, not just the air. Thick turf walls and wooden floors, well, they retained warmth. Embers under raised sleeping platforms radiated heat to the occupants above. World War II soldiers, interestingly enough, applied the same principle, heating stones beneath sleeping pallets to conserve body heat. Today, survivalists can adapt this by placing ember pots on flat stones inside insulated shelters or tents. Surrounding the pot with smaller stones allows the heat to radiate slowly even after the ember bed cools. Adding layers of soil sand or ash around the container further traps warmth, creating a low-maintenance, highly effective heating system. This approach is particularly useful in grid-down scenarios or winter camping, where consistent heat without constant supervision is, well, absolutely critical. Studying these techniques teaches more than just how to stay warm. It reveals the mindset of pre-modern and wartime survivalists. Every resource counted. Every method was tested, and efficiency was, above all, paramount. The Vikings and soldiers alike were forced to innovate quietly, creating systems that worked under pressure and endured scrutiny. Ember beds are more than historical curiosities. They are practical tools that demonstrate how low-tech methods can outperform many modern devices when used correctly. For survivalists, the ability to generate steady, long-lasting heat without fire risk or excessive fuel consumption is invaluable. Techniques like ember bed heating are, well, often buried in manuals, diaries, and those rather obscure wartime handbooks. But, they remain relevant. Learning from them connects us to the resourcefulness of the past, and honestly equips us with tools that could be life-saving in extreme conditions. It also reminds us that survival isn't always about flash and gadgets. It's about understanding energy, controlling resources, and really adapting techniques to your environment. For anyone fascinated by history or survival, this is more than just trivia. It's a toolkit, a bridge between centuries, and a reminder that even the simplest solutions can be, well, revolutionary. If you found this insight valuable, make sure to subscribe to Past Survival for more in-depth historical survival guides, and share this knowledge with someone who appreciates the intersection of history and practical fieldcraft.